My name is Kelly. And for a long time, I thought pain was something you were supposed to overcome quietly. I believed strength meant silence. That faith meant smiling through suffering. That trusting Jesus meant never questioning why your heart felt so heavy. But pain has a way of stripping away what we pretend to be. There was a moment, one quiet, ordinary moment, when I realized I couldn't carry it anymore. I wasn't dramatic. I wasn't screaming or crying uncontrollably. I was just empty. And I remember whispering into the dark, Jesus, I don't understand this. If you're listening to this right now, maybe late at night, maybe with tears you're trying to hide, I want you to know something before this story goes any further. You're not weak for hurting. And you're not faithless for asking questions. This is the story of how Jesus met me inside my pain, not after it ended, but while it was still aching. I used to think my life was stable. Not perfect, but manageable. I had plans. I had relationships I trusted. I had dreams I believed God would bless. I prayed confidently back then. My prayers sounded like this. Thank you, Lord. Guide my steps. Bless what I'm building. Pain hadn't interrupted my vocabulary yet. But slowly, almost politely, things began to unravel. A relationship I poured my heart into began to change. Conversations became shorter. Understanding became rare. Silence replaced closeness. Then came pressure, financial strain, expectations, responsibilities I never asked for but somehow carried. And with every loss, something inside me tightened. I kept going. I kept showing up. I kept telling myself, it will get better. Until one day. I didn't believe that anymore. Pain doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just stays. It wakes up with you. It sits beside you while you work. It whispers when you try to rest. I still prayed, but my prayers changed. They became shorter. Heavier. More honest. Jesus. I'm exhausted. There were days I felt guilty for feeling this way. I thought faith meant endurance without complaint. So I swallowed my questions. But pain doesn't disappear when ignored. One night, everything broke open. I sat on my bedroom floor, back against the wall, rain tapping softly against the window. And I said the thing I was afraid to admit. I feel forgotten. I expected thunder. Judgment. Silence. Instead, I felt something else. A calm, steady, unshaken. And in that stillness, the first truth settled into my heart. For years, I believed pain meant I had done something wrong. That God was correcting me. Teaching me a lesson. Withholding comfort. But Jesus doesn't punish his children with pain. He enters pain with them. I remembered the cross. Jesus didn't avoid suffering, he stepped into it willingly. Not because he deserved it. But because love stays. And suddenly, my pain looked different. It wasn't evidence of failure. It was evidence that I was still human, still alive, still loved. Jesus wasn't standing far away, arms crossed. He was sitting beside me, saying, I see you. And that changed everything. But understanding didn't erase the ache. Pain didn't vanish after that realization. Life still felt heavy. Some mornings, I woke up already tired. Some days, hope felt like work. I remember sitting alone in a quiet church, empty pews, sunlight pouring through stained glass. I whispered, if you're here, why does it still hurt? And slowly, patiently, the second lesson unfolded. Comfort had hidden a lot from me. It hid my need for God. It hid my fear of surrender. It hid how tightly I controlled outcomes. Pain removed the distractions. It exposed my dependence on things that could fail. And as uncomfortable as it was, pain taught me honesty. I stopped pretending I was okay. I stopped rushing healing. I stopped demanding answers. And in that raw place, Jesus didn't rush me either. He didn't say, "Fix yourself." He said, "Stay. Stay present. Stay open. Stay with me." Pain didn't destroy my faith. It deepened it. Healing came quietly. Not as a miracle, but as meaning. One day, someone shared their pain with me. And instead of feeling helpless, I felt understanding. My wounds had become windows. Jesus didn't waste what I endured. My pain taught me compassion, listening, patience. It taught me how to sit with others, not to fix them, but to love them. And that's when I realized, pain doesn't end the story. It reshapes it. And if you thought my story ended when I understood my pain, it didn't. Because knowing why pain exists is different from learning how to live with it. Part 1 of my story was about realizing that pain wasn't punishment. That it revealed truth. That it could become purpose. But this part is about what happened after. After the prayers. After the quiet healing. After I thought I was finally okay. Because pain has layers. And Jesus doesn't heal us all at once. He heals us as much as our hearts can handle. I expected healing to feel like closure. Like a door shutting. Like relief. Like finally being able to breathe again. But instead, healing felt incomplete. I smiled more. I functioned better. I laughed again. Yet deep inside, there were still scars that flinched when touched. I remember thinking, "Jesus, I trust you, but I'm afraid this pain will come back." And if I'm honest, I didn't want to be vulnerable again. Pain had taught me wisdom. But it also taught me fear. That's when Jesus began teaching me something harder than pain itself. There was still anger in me. Not loud anger. Quiet anger. The kind that shows up in memories. The kind that tightens your chest without warning. I had forgiven in words. But my heart hadn't caught up yet. I'd say, "I forgive them." But my body still remembered the hurt. One night, I said it plainly. "Jesus, I don't want to be bitter. But I don't know how to let this go." And that's when the next lesson came. Not gently, but honestly. Jesus didn't tell me to pretend it didn't hurt. He didn't tell me to minimize my pain. Instead, he showed me this truth. Forgiveness is not saying, "It didn't matter." It's saying, "It mattered, but it will not control me." Forgiveness wasn't about excusing what happened. It was about releasing myself. Jesus didn't rush me. He didn't pressure me. He walked me, slowly, through truth. And I learned something freeing. You can forgive gradually. You can forgive while still healing. You can forgive even when trust isn't restored. Forgiveness wasn't a moment. It was a process. I thought forgiveness would be the final step. But then, nothing changed. No sudden blessings. No dramatic breakthrough. No clear direction. Just waiting. And waiting is its own kind of pain. I remember praying, "Jesus, what are you doing?" And the answer wasn't explanation. It was invitation. Waiting felt unproductive. Silent. Uncomfortable. But Jesus showed me that waiting is where trust matures. Waiting stripped my need for control. Waiting taught me patience I didn't want. Waiting forced me to rely on God without results. I learned to sit with unanswered prayers. To worship without reward. To trust without timelines. Waiting wasn't God ignoring me. It was God anchoring me. Peace didn't come with fireworks. It came quietly. One morning, I realized I wasn't replaying old wounds anymore. One afternoon, I noticed my chest felt lighter. One night, I slept without crying. Healing wasn't loud. It was subtle. Jesus hadn't erased my story. He redeemed it. I wasn't the same person I used to be. I was softer, wiser, more compassionate, and stronger in ways pain could never steal. Pain may still visit, but it no longer controls my life. Because now I know. Jesus doesn't just meet us in pain. He walks with us after it. He teaches us how to love again, how to trust again, how to hope without fear. Pain didn't break me. It introduced me to a deeper Jesus. If this story spoke to you, if you felt seen, understood, or comforted even for a moment, please take a second to like this video. If you know someone who's walking through pain, waiting, or healing in silence, share this video with them. Sometimes God uses a simple story to reach a heart we can't. And if you want more faith-filled stories like this, stories about Jesus meeting us in pain, in waiting, and in healing, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We're building a safe place here. A place for honesty. A place for hope. This is Kelly. Thank you for staying until the end. And remember, you are seen, you are loved, and you are never alone.